I'm an old pal. All right,
That's cool.
popping it
So,
up.
so are you still like playing for that team then, like for the tournament or?
Yep. For the rest of the die party, we're 2-1 right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they had Blizzard servers die in the middle of the second week matches, so we're gonna have to
Yes.
play an extra one on the fourth week.
Was that Thursday?
Mm-hmm. Oh no,
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Okay.
Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Funny enough, my tryout actually died as well, like midway through.
Oh great.
Yeah. All good though. Whatever.
Finished my setup. You in stream?
Yeah, I'm here.
Based. All right. So Ultra May Sojourn versus Sim May Ryan.
So also maybe another clarification. Humble, he doesn't exactly. He probably won't be playing Symmetra Reaper or anything like that. He's more like the off angle. My understanding, in his comfort pick will be Soldrin.
Okay. That is fair. Alright.
Also, feel free to be as hard as you want, or bash me for it, because
Yeah. Like they're not going to win maybe sort of engagement through this right now. So let me just keep watching for a sec, see how we can handle the whole thing. Because you know I can land them.
yeah.
That's a better shield than the first one. I like that more. Oh, full TP. Okay. Don't like how he picked up. Okay. I'll let this whole one die out and then we'll go back and dissect it a little bit. Okay. So, two different phases of this fight. This little poke spam phase, and then we got that teleport play. Alright, now looking at the compositions, I want you to do like a slight little macro analysis of like what's the strengths of their comp versus the strengths of your comp. What are you trying to get? What are you trying to avoid right now? And how you should take this in general.
I would say the primary strength of our comp, obviously besides just Amira, is like is having an off angle with our Soldrin.
Okay, so you can get pick potential off that.
Yeah, and also like as a team, maybe we try to buy as much time for that to happen, and then with them, obviously they're gonna be better like in the brawl and isolation, even getting on us because of SimTP. So I think maybe the plan's to avoid dying to them, contrary to what I did.
Well, avoid dying to them, yeah, in general. But I do agree you want to be playing slower. With them, they have that sim left click, which is just gonna maul in close range. Plus they have wall off. Plus they have all that. So any sort of forward motion through this doors is kind of death. You know, if you full commit, because they're just gonna win that out in terms of damage and utility. You know. So close range engagements, I think you're trying to avoid when it comes through these doorways, especially with any sort of setup. And any sort of long fight where you're in that sort of brawl occasion. You want longer fights when you're in that mid range, you know, where you can get a bunch of poke out and let your Sojourn get some work done, and you're just outside of Sim Beam, you know? But you're still trying to maximize the amount of damage and pressure you can get while in this mid range. So when you're in here, this shield and this positioning is a bit too passive. I don't like it because you have to sit so far back that you're still limited on the angles and the people that you can pressure out. Where I'd rather you put a lot more pressure onto either, you know, Reinhardt, one of these squishies in the back, one of the supports, or trying to fuck with Mei and get a cooldown out, right? You would fuck with Reinhardt just to try and get his shield to a lower amount before you guys engage, because that's one cooldown advantage you have over his, is that yours is just a timer where his is like, you know, a health bar. And with you having a Sojourn, the main thing that's going to block him from getting picks is just getting Ryan shielded off, you know, mid fight. So you want to have that as low as possible if you can, you know, and it's a safe option to go for, right? You just like play to the side of the shield through here, spam them off a little bit. If they speed through, you speed through, you know, if they wall, you guys break pillar, wall back, and you can just keep disengaging and kiting out. It's not immensely dangerous, you know. Um, so that's one like cooldown you can get out. Same with like May. You want to fuck with her, which you did eventually here. Um, but I would say try to get like a little bit more aggressive with the angle. You don't go through, but you can sit on that doorway. When you were spamming her on this
Hmm.
corner, you don't need to just stand here. You can sit a little bit further in. The most damage you're gonna take is like the right click, so she's not close. If she gets close, you can back off. But you see her split off. Forcing her ice block is really huge. Baiting her ice wall is another really huge advantage you can have. And you don't have to commit off of it, but you should definitely go for it more aggressively. And then for
Okay.
your left spam, if you see this, Lucio may be less much just because he's harder to hit, but if you see this, like out in the open, there where he's not committed, like in the doorway, in out, in out, in out, so he's not going to be taking much damage at all. But he's
Hmm.
open, so you have a chance to like spray and like follow him if he's not going to go out of cover. You should do that because any damage onto a healer is going to force a cooldown or force attention, right? Where if you do it to like a DPS or like a tank, both the healers are already looking forward anyways, and they're just going to spam like a tap a heal and be fine. But if you get him, he either has to get passive Lucio heals, an amp Lucio heal, or his shift, right? And that's a cooldown that you're getting out of the fight pretty easily. Um,
So
and
do you think?
and you could lower
So,
them to where if Sojourn also sees this opportunity and they start spraying him, it's a potential pick. It does
mm,
help that. So the people who want to take damage the least on the enemy team is going to be their supports. Takes
okay.
attention. People have to turn. Takes cooldowns to heal them. Takes another healer's attention to heal them. It's the most influence per damage you can get is onto a support. So if he's open like that, definitely I would say look for those and make that your top. I would say number one is go for this. Number two, go for this. Number three, go for this. So if one's available, you go for that. If one's not available, you go for two. If two's not available, you go for the third in
Okay.
terms of safety and value. Okay. So that's just one. And we identified you need that slower stuff. If you shield forward more, it also lets your Sojourn get like more of wide angles aggressively onto your shield without having any pressure turned back onto them, right? Which could definitely help. But they could just like if it was a little bit more forward and Vaps here, they could just play like literally at the doorway and just start fucking spraying them down without any fear of this like icicle fucking them up, right? Where if they're on the right side here, or like straight behind you, they can get icicle through it, and they still have to worry about it. So it's just better for like the FOV, like the angle of the fight, to like put it on the doorway. Don't put it deep, because then they could push through. But like just barely on the edge to where they don't want to really push through it,
Mm,
and you'll be fine.
okay, that makes
Um,
sense.
so that's
So
one.
I have a question then. So like, do you think I should be investing like my E, or do you think I should for on those supports, or do you think I should just save my cooldowns for when they actually engage to attempt to survive?
That would depend on how far out the support is. Like if they're playing like even further out and like you saw them like they jumped and shit, I would throw E and then I try to spray them down because they're in a really dangerous spot and it gives you enough time to potentially pick them off or get them really low by the time that they get to cover. If they're very close to it, it might not be worth it, because then they'll just like play unpeaked and just heal teammates and like, yeah, you got them technically like a lower FOV in the fight, but they're still healing everybody that they want to. It's not really a huge difference, right? I wouldn't use a cooldown for it, especially like when they have a rushdown comp. You'd want the E just in case you want to kite them out or get
Mm,
a potential pick after, you know? So it depends on your punishment window. If it's a medium level like punishment window, like they're out from both sides of cover, like if May was in the center of this, you could throw the E and just like you wide peek if they're going left and keep left clicking them the whole way through and try and really pressure them. Maybe get the ice block out. Or same thing if they go on this right side while they're being slowed and you just walk left and keep spraying them that whole time. Get what I mean? But if
yeah.
they're on the edge like this, I wouldn't really use it because if she just kites and sits in the exact corner, like you see later, it's gonna be a little fucked unless you go like more into the corner and you really commit to it, which is up to you if you feel like that's worth the risk or not. If there's a lot of pressure on you, like Sims on that side, I wouldn't do it. If Bap's spamming you on that side at the same time and Ryan's like gonna swing at you, I wouldn't do it. If they're not, then yeah, you know.
All right.
Um, but that's something you have to feel out. I wouldn't say in this situation there's any obvious ones. unless you saw Sim like she is now in the center. You could throw an E at her and force the Reinhardt to have to start to shield her so that she's safe. You know, and
Okay.
then that forces more of his shield health, right? Maybe even a panic wall or something like that if they're really afraid of you, like just popping in and fucking them. You know.
That makes sense.
And yeah. Now the second phase is what I feel is really important for you to understand. That Felix is played well.
Okay.
Using up the cooldown, TPing. We miss up with they are TPing, whatever, that's fine. Here, when they first TP, when they're like this, there should be something going off in your head. What do you think that is?
Well, obviously they give the space and the point, but I'm not sure exactly like what your question is. Like the first thing I think of, like.
So your approach is kite.
Okay.
That's what you're thinking, right? Stay away from him here.
Yeah.
My point of view is the opposite, actually.
Like pounce on them.
My point of view is sprint at them, because since they're all grouped and you have 3 quick kill squishies here, Ramatra with shift can kill any squishy in the game, any 200 HP squishy, if he left clicks them 3 times and melees them. Any 200
Okay.
HP. So 1, 2, 3 melee, they die. All right. Sure, there's healing involved, but you get a lot more shots than 3 off when you hit shift and you're one of the most unkillable characters in the game. And what's also great about this is they're all grouped and they have no cover. They have no place to retreat. So right now, if you left click and sprint at them, you're going to be hitting 3 squishies and 4 when BAP TPs through. Right? And
Okay.
what picks would cripple them?
Well, obviously the Lucio, but like obviously the bat for major healing, right? Or the sim even would be like
I would
their
say
most
in terms
damage,
of
right?
cripples them the most, 1, 2, and 3. Once BAP is dead, all they have is Lucio heals. They're done. If you have a main healer versus them having no BAP and all they have is Lucio heals, once AMP is done, they can just get whittled down and lose every single like damage trade, right? So that's just dead. That's a big cripple.
So full blown aggressive on the BAP, get the BAP, and then just hold.
Yeah. And you'll pop
It just
lamp
starts
really
stabilize.
early. You'll pop amp really really early. You'll pop his shift very early, right? They might have to wall you. They might have to freeze you, but then that's like 4 cooldowns for the price of you shifting and holding left click at something, right? And multiple of them will be 1 HP when lamp gets dropped and broken if you keep the pressure up, right?
Okay.
And multiple of them are 1 HP. You've got good damage. She's got good damage for people who are 40, right? She's got great damage for this in pick ceiling, and she's got any right click will kill one of them, right? And yes,
Yeah.
you'll be in a dangerous spot. You'll be taking pressure, right? But as long as your Kiriko's paying attention, you cleanse while they BAP lamp, but you have 4 squishies down to 1 HP or very low, and most of their cooldown spent. You guys should win that trade overall in most situations, as long as people aren't AFKing in the fight, like they're not getting no value, right? This is the situation where your Sojourn would try to get the most aggressive angle to the side as possible so that Ryan doesn't cuck their follow up, right? This is where May would go in aggressive on the Ryan, try and go either past him to the squishies and start getting right clicks, or freeze him up and make sure that he has to hold shield up the entire time and not get value, which is another great way to avoid you getting punished, right? She could also wall, right? If she walls this while you run at them, the only thing that they can do is wall back, and once that's done, they're all fucked. Right?
Where do you think the wall should go? Do you think right side of the run, or like behind them? Or like...
If they do a wall this way, that's huge because then they can't retreat to Mega. Right? So no one gets a little buff up there, and it's a closer corner. Right? If you block off this side, they get a corner and a Mega. If you block off this side, they have to go across, right? They have to just sit against the wall. They really can't retreat anywhere without it
Mm.
taking too long, right? It's a
Oh,
really bad spot, and they're all grouped up. Any sim TP, if you have AoE damage, you should all be investing in it immediately, right? Like, yeah, your slow field's down and his nades are down, so you can't do that. If you ever see this happen and you have those cooldowns, immediately throw them, right? Because
yeah.
anybody who's like 6-man group, they're basically in a choke point, right? They're basically sitting in this doorway, right? And if you saw
Yeah.
them funneling through this doorway, you'd fuck them, right? With as many different pieces of utility and AoE and damage as you could, right? Any choke point in the game, you do that, right? And this is a choke point where they have no cover to retreat to. So it's a really, really good engage. Plus,
That
like,
makes
you see, like,
sense.
somebody's already half HP. 2 left clicks, they die. And that's just you, right? Not everybody else included on here where you're screaming, go, 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 kill them, fight, fight, fight. You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. One thing. I don't. Are you drawing with Epic Pen?
Oh, yes, I am. And I see that it is not there.
Okay.
Ta-da. Stupid me. Display capture. Game capture. Ta-da. All right. So what I was saying in terms of the priority is this. It was 1, 2. What did I do? It was 3. Yeah. Yeah. So BAP would be the most crippling. Sim second most crippling. Lucio third.
Okay.
Okay.
Is Lucio third because he survives? Like, is really hard to kill, or?
No, he just doesn't provide as much as these two. Like, yeah, like if you have speed differential, the rotations are gonna suck as much, right? He can't engage as easy, he can't kite as easy, but that's not as crippling as getting rid of your entire fucking damage core, right? After this, it's Mei left click, which doesn't do as much damage anymore, and then her right click and some Rhine swings, which if you are kiting out with speed, even if they speed up, like any sort of boop away, any sort of slow, any sort of getting around cover, any sort of fight reset, they have like no damage to really close out the fight. Where Sim will be mauling through all of your cooldowns and your health especially, right?
Okay.
So she's gone, their fight win percent goes down a lot, right? And BAP is literally like getting rid of him is getting rid of like 120 heal per second on their whole team on everybody,
Mm-hmm.
right? Plus immortality, and a potential like window mid fight, right? So that's way more crippling in my opinion, especially like if you have your Kiriko buff. Like the number changed on like sustainability and engage and lasting through the fight is crazy. And then once amp is down, they have nothing. Is what I was trying to say after before. Right?
Got it. Okay. So,
Yeah.
out of curiosity, do you think this was a mistake from them to TP on us like this, or do you think they have to lean into
I think
it?
it's immensely easily counterable. The only thing that makes it work is if somebody doesn't know how to deal with it and they're not proactive against it. It's one of those plays that like if it works, it's effective, but if you know how to counter it, it's death. It's the same thing. Like, remember when teams would teleport onto Hanamura on Overwatch 1, right? Onto that first point.
Oh, yep.
That was a great strategy when no one knew how to deal with it. The second people know how to deal with it, 0% fight win rate, right? It's always through, 100% of the time. Putting your whole team in a clump like this and all their squishies in a clump like this in a game that has AoE damage is not a great idea, right? They're going to need to use a lot of cooldowns just to survive the first 5 seconds of this play. And if you rush at them and aggress at them and fuck them the first 5 seconds, this play loses almost every time.
Okay.
You'll never like. That's why. Have you seen an owl team teleport directly on top of another team? No, they go to the side. They go to a high ground. They try to not have that initial "I'm in the center of you" fight, because then you're just surrounded, taking a fuck ton of damage, and all your squishies in the place you don't want them to be. Like, you want Orion in front and supports behind always. You don't want the supports to be of easy access. So once they're dead, it's over. And you don't want your DPS carry to be an easy access. Once it's dead, it's over.
That makes sense. Okay.
And I wouldn't even focus the TP, because the likelihood of them all taking TP out is very slim. And so if they don't all take TP back, you have isolated targets to kill, right? So it's fine. And I'd rather you have the damage while they're clumped up as opposed to wasting that time. Wasting that time left clicking this 2 to 3 times. Now look at how spread they are.
Yeah.
Right? All that advantage you had of shifting and sprinting at them is gone because we're staring at the teleporter trying to get rid of that instead of going for the punish. Right?
This makes sense.
We've gone 4 to 5 seconds before we got onto here, and that's what I said, right? 5 seconds after this play, if they're not punished, it's fine. 5 seconds go by, or if before those 5 seconds you guys engage hard on squishies, you win. Right? There's no way that they can get them out.
Yeah.
Right? If you just full on engage. And you're Rom. 675 HP, a lot of armor, right click, you'll be fine. Right? And this is what I mean, like if Bap's gone here, like if he's just outie, you can't really hard engage him without feeding. Turn to Sim. Get that Sim pressured, hard fucked, try and get her out of there, because she's going to be your main pressure to the other side. And the longer it goes on, the worse it is.
Okay.
Yeah, if he's just holding it on you, you're like 100 HP, can't really do much. 60 HP, and she's just running. That damage per second is ridiculous. And now she gains extra shield for herself on shields. Like if you left click, it's going to be a nuisance and a pain. So definitely don't let that threat last that long. At least on pressure.
Okay.
Because again, 3 right clicks, 3 left clicks on a melee, you kill somebody. Yeah, she'll have heals, but once she gets down to half HP or less, she's going to feel pressured and play a little bit slower and back off.
Right.
So it's cool. Nice pick on Lucio. So if it's on Lucio, the hard part is they still have Baptiste, right? So it's not like an instant win, right? They can still shift, they can still right click, and they can deal with like just a hard engage on anybody that isn't him. So yeah, they can't run as far, but it's still kind of fucked, right? So it is good if they're taking it a little slower, but you guys got walled off. My strategy with this usually is just like do center pillar, but because there's a shield on here, it's kind of fucked. Can't get through there. Yeah, no, I don't think there's much you could do after this wall. I do feel like it might have been a bit too aggressive rushing on to try and finish it after Lucio pick, because like I said, Lucio is a crippler of a fight when it comes to movement and rotations, but it's not such a crippler of a fight that you just run at them and they just can't do anything, you know? It definitely increases win rate, but it doesn't guarantee a fight win. So I don't think a Lucio pick is one where you sprint on them when they have a really good defensive positioning. You know, you still got to feel it out a little bit, and you just want to get that fight started before Lucio's back, but take your time. You know, the more time you take before sprinting into there, more time your team gets into a better position for that fight, and they can get more aggressive pickoff angles, right?
Okay.
Because if you just sprint, look what happens when you sprint. Sojourn's all the way back here. Kiri's back here, May's back here. You sit here for a little bit, poke a little bit. You say, okay, are you guys ready? You go in for a 3, 2, 1. Sojourn gets to around here, has a great angle for anything onto this now. May is definitely right on top of you, so she can wall in, split off, or like just get some pressure off of you immediately, right? Kiriko can get a better angle or jump off the wall a lot faster. It's just like a little bit nicer. You don't have to rush it as much, right? And they're gonna be full HP because Baptiste, right? And then if you get a 3, 2, 1, instead of rushing in one by one and people being split off and there's not much burst damage, there's just overall damage happening, right? Because it's not synced up. You can have a 3, 2, 1. You can call a target out you want to kill immediately. Like, let's rush on to Sim, or let's rush on to Bap, right? Or let's rush on to May. I want her to not freeze me, right? So let's rush on to May, get her like ice block forced out. Then you guys can do that all at once, you know, and just fuck them up really quickly.
Okay. That makes sense.
Be careful on fight follow-ups. Sometimes you get an advantage. This happens all the time. You know, you get an advantage, but it's sprinted, it gets a little sloppy, and then the fight's lost. You know, definitely happens a lot. Happens to a lot of more highly coordinated teams that you're gonna face against. You're gonna have that happen a lot more. Especially if the skill variance is very close or they're higher than you, they'll get a lot of more 4v5 wins than they should. So you need to make sure that's clean. Because he's got
Alright.
10 seconds and then an extra 5 for a rollout, right? So you can take an extra 3 to start it.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a better goal, 100%.
This one's scary because of all the boops. I don't like this angle at all. I know you want to switch things up because go main, go main, go main. And like, we got fucked up, and then we got fucked up, right? But the problem is how we're like taking that main fight and not switching between the doorways a lot. So you're not getting like additional pressure. You're sort of just like going in, right? Which you definitely want to do, like if you're at that like front window and like you're not getting any value from this left side, or you've got your value already, you pressured somebody off, immediately switch up the pressure by going to the other end, right? Getting another angle on them, switch up the pressure again, go to the other end. You want to keep going back and forth if you're not committing, right? Because otherwise you're just sitting in a doorway taking spam for free, right? And they don't have to change up their positions at all. They just play optimally for whatever that angle is, and they don't play optimally for the switch up and then another switch up where you have to keep them shifting around and give yourself more opportunities during that, right? Which you want them to do, especially when you have a Sojourn there, or they already have a pretty good defensive position that you can't just run into, right? And this one is just probably going to end up in just Boop City and Solo Wall City. The center is also better because you can't make that wall in the direction. Yeah, they did let you get a bit more pressure from the top if you guys want to move more onto that. So this would be nice. I feel like you're a bit too passive on that ultimate. So the fact that it's like 76, 80, this is possibly last fight if it gets drugged out. Alright? And you guys are already in here. You've already used 2 ultimates, right? It's do or die. They win the map here or you lose here, basically, in most situations. And the fact that they're all that low and you see that opportunity right there, especially when you get booped, I would just queue immediately, get all your health up. You can get a couple secured picks, and you could possibly turn this into a 3v3 that you win because that ult is so strong.
All right.
And if you win at 85, that's good. You know? It's way better than winning at 99 from like slowly winning this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no chance after that. Which that's just time pressure. And like I said, engaging from that angle is really bad. You guys got probably one of the best ways, like the best scenarios out of going there. The fact that you even got out without any picks happening, right? Well, having a chance to flip that fight. Realized on, but that angle is just really, really rough. It just gives you so many negative disadvantages.
Yeah. Okay.
Your children does also need to play a little bit more aggressive if you want to give them that feedback. Not like in their face if you can't stand on them, right? But like a little bit closer in courtyard to get some sharper angles across the point instead of just like a hallway, tiny one, right?
Yeah. I mean, in my mind still, like I don't even think I would have the cojones to talk to the soldier about applying more pressure there, because it felt like I made so many mistakes there. Like,
for sure. No, yeah, it is a thing where it's just like you don't want it to be like, oh, you're the reason we lost that. You know, like I made mistakes for sure. I do feel like even like a Pharah or something might be better for you guys on that occasion, because then you can get like a full side angle on that window when they're playing such a lockdown fortress on point top. Having 0 complete side pressure sucks, and she's like the only one that can actually do that for a long period of time. Hanzo can, but he can get ran on. Everybody else can, but they can get ran on type of thing. Pharah's the only one that just can't get run up on while she's doing it. So something to consider if you ever want to talk about that with your team.
You know, funny enough, I actually rewatched. I think it was my favorite VOD that you've done because you taught us about triangles. That's a classic. That was the classic thing. The textbook like map. Yeah. So that was my favorite. Like. Yeah. And I always. Talk about that composition. Yeah, I always do like a Pharaoh or dive on that map. I always do like that, but.
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult going face to face against that. Just walls, fucking turrets, and then hammer swing. It's gonna be a bit of a nightmare pulling teeth to try and play that perfectly. And even then, it's one of those situations where even if you play it perfectly, they have an advantage. You know.
So you would say the soldier is just a negative, like a.
Not the soldier specifically, but any sort of comp that doesn't have that sort of side pressure in there, it's gonna have some issues. You know, and like Sojourn technically has an off angle there, but not really. It's still straight in front of them all, right? All it is just one extra doorway to the side. right? If she would play a little bit more aggressive, try to go full side, like maybe on their side of the map, get an E out and shot, and then fucking do her like little jump to get back to main, that's a possibility, right? Because then you take some side pressure while you're going for an engage, right? Fuck up the supports, force some cooldowns. And it would be more influential onto the fight to do that. It's just a little more risky, you know?
What about...
Probably not going to take any time.
Yeah, so what about the... So we usually see, like, in Watch League, we usually see, like, a Kiriko go, like, an off angle. What do you think about Kiriko Soljin on an off angle, just for a little bit?
I think that's pretty strong. You just gotta watch, you know, you taking too much damage or getting rushed on. That does really work pretty well, because then she has some sustain and double pressure, and then Kiriko can just TP to main, which is pretty good. And I like that. So, yeah, that's a good play.
Okay.
Kiriko can get more aggressive in general. Like, in most situations, she can just afford to. The only thing is just missing out all those heals at once, you know? Because if there is a fight that breaks down on main and she doesn't get there fast, kind of fuzzy. She's just ignoring it for going for damage a little bit. You get a little tunnel. Yeah. On Tracer. Now that gets rid of your back pressure. You still have some pressure in main, but not nearly as much. So yeah, I think you can go for that on this engagement. And let's see who you go for. I don't think you knew that Mercy was lower. I would have gone for her in general. Because like here, you will always E yourself and like TP away. Mercy does have some good movement options, but since they're all in that sort of center area, the only place she could fly to is in more. You know, so that's like a free punish opportunity there. That's a missed one. Let me see after TC4. Just sort of put in there. Almost could have. I think we tested them more times than possibly a kill there. But reload.
So what do you think about like coming through like here and then jumping on that high ground? The high ground where the monkey's on.
That monkey's on?
Or was on.
Up here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where the I think if you guys are playing all aggressive and you have like really good angles out here onto it, it could work. I'd say even then, you might just want to hard dive in, bubble, and then just make sure you're peaked for heals on this side so you don't get rocked. Because that would put a lot more pressure onto them, open up the angles even more aggressively so they can't just shoot off your squishies while you're sitting up there on the roof. The roof is more safe for you, but maybe not more high success rate for the play. Depends if you're trying to like kill them all. You know, if you're trying to kill them all, I wouldn't recommend going here. If you're trying to just poke for a little bit and do a little bit of pressure, I think that's fine. If you want to end the fight, I'd do like center, jump on a squishy, melee, bubble, and then back up for heals type of play. Yeah. But you have to have your team ready, and you know that. If they're not, then it's just play for poke and pressure is probably the best play, so you can do that. Building roll.
Gotcha.
I don't agree with this. I don't agree with how he dealt with it either. Alright, well he kind of fucked that up then. I was gonna say I don't agree with that, because what you're doing here is you're just like, you're getting Tesla damage where most people can't really follow up for it. I don't know if you and your Tracer were talking about both punishing them. If you were, then that's fine. But otherwise, you're just opening yourself up to all 4 teammates, while the person you're trying to punish is open to no one here, without putting himself also in danger once his bubble's down. And he could have just backed up, played slow, bubble pop because everyone's shooting it, and then just get healed. And then it's a no value bubble play and push, right? That could have given you a lot of damage afterward. So, but it's not the worst. They did fuck up. They did peek in forward, so they took more damage. They didn't just back up. They could have even just jumped to Mega real quick and jump back. But, I got punished on the here. You need to be on the squishy. Ooh, no. This is not the right play. If you're going to play it through here, push here, and get your whole team here, you have to hard commit onto this. You have to get the squishy. Kiriko's not that big of an issue because she used her TP, she used her E. Her E is definitely not up. Her TP is back up, so she's not somebody you want to focus right now compared to this. Right here is beautiful. Because even if they have Kiriko heals, you're damaging 2 of them at the same time. One of them's low HP, so they have to panic. And you're getting all the attention here. Right? Like, Soldier's gonna fight for his life. Mercy's gonna try and heal Soldier. Kiriko's gonna try and get into a position to heal Soldier. Maybe even TP and get herself into the mess of 3 Teslas, right? Mercy's gonna have to fly away while somehow like pocketing them, right? And you're just opening up either a kill on Mercy when she flies away, kill on Mercy when she stays in, kill on Soldier when he stays in, even with a pocket because Tesla +1 clip, right? And then you're getting an equal trade. Right, you just lost a Sombra, and you're in the prime position to get a bunch of damage onto 2 squishies and get a lot of pressure onto here, plus a potential kill. Right, so I would definitely harken it onto here because you leaving here, now they're full, almost full, and she's safe. Right, we're legitimately 2 seconds ago. Look at the situation. Killable, bad position, killable, follow-upable after the first kill, right? Winston's half HP, and Kiri's out of the fight. See how that changes immediately into this?
Yeah. So do you think I should have just maybe didn't save jump and just kept walking at them, and then jump if I like needed to?
I think the jump was fine. It could have been better landed, right? Like you could have landed out. You got kind of caught on the lip here, and then went backwards. If you held forward, I think you go out, and the land damage actually either kills him or gets him into meleeable. So you melee and land on here, and I think you kill him, right? After the jump is used, you just stay and commit, right? If you wanted to save that jump, once you get out here, you jump in immediately and commit, right? It's not really a big difference in the timing. It's just, it just didn't land correctly, right?
Yeah.
But I definitely think you commit in here. You're so high HP too. Like, sure, you're missing 150, but like with your jump, with aggression, with that melee and all that shit, and your tracer coming in, you get a trade here, right? Possibly 2. Yeah. And if you die, you get a Mercy and a Soldier. Then you're leaving them with a pretty decent advantage, but not as much as a 5-man advantage that you'd be giving them from not going for it.
Yeah. I mean, plus if I do kill the Soldier there, I'm probably just not going to take a whole lot of damage either.
For sure. And you're pressuring the Mercy to go for a res when like your Tracer's there, your Kiri's here, all that other shit, right? And Vincent's also 1 HP while it's happening. Like I think you honestly could have killed all 3 there, one by one. If your Tracer was in, like you aggress with them and you're going for it, which you probably would have all ended if you're going for it.
Alright, makes sense.
And don't give up 3 squishies in 1 HP,
Yeah.
Especially when you're down when a need to trade. Like, that's the best situation you're going to get. Dragging it out is not going to be best. Unfortunate. That's all we're going to say there.
Yeah.
You got a roll touch on that. Waiting way too long on that. That should be instant. That should be instant. You have Primal in case things get wrong. And she just teleported at 1 HP. Instant. You fucked it up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You fucked that one
you're
up.
good. Yeah.
And that's a massive one. That means no heals in the fight. They're done.
Yeah.
Thankfully you guys win anyways. But I would never not instant jump that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, especially when it's Kiri. You see a Kiri TP when she got pressured, 90% of the time, you go for it. That's the thing with double fucking. With the other support down and she does that, 100% of the time. I don't give a fuck if you die, dude.
Yeah.
I don't like the visor, the way he plays it. Visor's going on. There's a lot of aggression. What you gotta prevent when you hear this visor is you've got to prevent any pressure coming in from the extreme angle on here, any push across onto here, and any sort of angle on the other side, right? Because that fucks up the people that are behind you in this area, which is where your team's posted, right? So your job here is to get a good bubble off, which could be done with a jump as well, to just mitigate the rest of this visor, right? Just neuter it, okay, as much as you can. Because you're giving like them some ample opportunity and time to visor, move whatever way that they want, get whatever angle that they want, and to aggress. And I don't like that. I don't like how no attention was put onto it while it's going. The damage was put onto it. Like, look at this. That's horrible. That's a almost like if he right clicks that, that's a potential pick, especially with Tracer pressure. Your Kiriko can't peek at all. Your Tracer can't peek at all. You're just all fucked. Right?
Yeah.
Where you could have jumped here, E'd, gotten some decent damage onto him and onto Winston and onto Kiriko a little bit, back off to the edge of bubble, and it will still take him 3 or so seconds to get through it. Right? And you cut off their entire team from this engage that's happening in your backline.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so you've got to
I think
mitigate
you
that.
can. I think you can even get 3 bubbles in the Kasune. Like I could almost have permanent
That's
bubble up time as well.
Fun. Love that. Love this game. Oh wait, you drop a lot of punishes. When he gets to here, you guarantee his death if you leap. If you do an S leap and a melee land while Teslaing him the whole time, like you don't let go of left click the whole time, he 100% dies no matter what is done to him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you're giving that up for the chance of these heals getting through it. Right? Your heals do not out heal Mercy Beam or Kiriko. Your burst, while he's this low, can't. Right?
Yeah.
So you see this? You either melee now, because you literally could have killed him with a melee now. And if you left click melee and it doesn't kill him, you're immediately jumping melee landing and you're trying to get him out. You get this punish while you can. Alright? Especially when you're 550 HP, you have prime on everything, you have nothing to worry about. You want to get that punish. Now you're making it a harder punish. You have to juggle through a Mercy Beam. Okay. And I will say with this juggle, don't be pressured when you're juggling to immediately hit. Right? So this hits, that there. You should have S-keyed a little bit more to maintain the fact that you're straight in front of him, and don't be afraid to miss. Right? Like, don't be afraid, like, you S too much, you miss this left click, right? To position further to the left of him, and then make sure that he's being booped towards the ledge more, right? Because that's what you're going for, is this ledge.
Yeah.
Right? You just gotta keep him contained. And when you boop him across there, all you're trying to do is just, like, contain this area. Don't let him get past here. And you definitely don't want to hit him flat. Right? So just keep that area contained. If he moves to the right, as you boop back, you move to the right. You know, you just keep him contained and slowly work him over there. You don't need to jump. Right? You don't need to jump far. You don't need to hit a crazy smack, leap, smack, midair, land, smack. You don't need that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If you can guarantee this pick, from simple, easy, as some people would call it, pussy style primaling, it works. You
It's
know,
more consistent, right?
You get him in a kill that cannot be rezzed, and they get rid of their main damage source. And look at these 2 other picks here. You win the fight. And it's a port out, and that's done. He's the only one who could bring this fight back into, you know, fruition.
Mm. Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
You're definitely going for steep, like, you're trying to do the hit mid-lead land where they do type of, like, jump, where you're, like, RWing with it. I say just guarantee the boop and the land, and then just walk to them and left click if you can. If not, then do, like, another short jump. You always want to make sure you're in front of them, because what's going to fuck you is when you go through them, and you get a bad angle. Right?
Yeah. Yep. Unfortunately that's kind of like that's like my rush showing a lot. Like back in the day, like 6 months ago, I used to be able to primal very well. Yeah. Now I just like I have no confidence.
For sure. You're also not again going for punishes like this. Again, he's low HP. Jump, shortest jump possible, whatever like that distance will be, and just melee land him and Tesla him. Right? You need those melee lands to go for punishes on squishy, especially through heals. Like, he's 1 HP, he should not be allowed to live that. You have the cooldowns, you go for it. All this damage you're taking is from not killing him, too. Like, you gotta think about it as that way. You know? Like, you're scared of taking damage. Well, if you kill him quick, you won't take any of this, and you can reset, and you can play around cover, and play around the rest of their damage. But if you slowly do it, he gets to fuck you the entire time, while you have to deal with all those other extraneous sources of damage on you. That you can play around until you kill him.
Right? I think that's exactly right. Yeah.
Even with her, it's like fucking jump land. It's a little scary to 60, but fuck it. You know, get the kill on the Kiriko because you're probably gonna die here anyway. That's fine. definitely stay for another. Jump back in. I'd say jump back in window just for shorter time and a better angle, more likely chance of landing on somebody. Right? Remember,
More
landing
aggressive.
on somebody's 50 damage, meleeing them is 80 damage. Teslaing and melee landing them is like around 100-ish or 110-ish, right? Burst. You don't want to give that up, and you don't want to not be going for it at almost every opportunity you can. And every opportunity you can is when you're healthy. When you're healthy and when you have bubble, almost 100% of the time do it. When you're healthy and you have jump, if it's a punishment opportunity and it's not like you're jumping into fucking 5 of them, yeah. It's always good. Do it while you have health. Remember that fundamental? While you have health and cooldowns, you do it. When you don't, you don't.
Yeah.
Yep. But if you have it, you do it. That's the emphasis. That's unfortunate. So yeah, I'm just seeing a lot of like scaredness to go for punishment and burst opportunities. And then we went through some specific situations like shutting down their ult and shutting down their plays.
Yeah. Yep.
And then juggling, you're biting off more than you can chew with it. Do like a lot more consistent, slow, short, like make sure it gets done type of juggles. You don't need to go for the flare all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen too much Fearless in his prime.
Yeah. Which you can definitely watch. You definitely practice. Do it some times in comp and all that shit. But you got to make sure you get the fundamentals down. You can always at least get a good amount of value out of it, and then you can get that style for extra value and extra fans.
Yeah, I would, so far I think the worst thing about the play is just, or at least on Monkey, is just always I'll commit to something and I just back away for no good reason.
Yeah. Which it's hard, right? Because you're trying to figure out when can I go for the punish opportunity, right? Because you don't want to just like W in too hard with no cooldown and you just die, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is you're doing it with good health and with good engagements. Like the other tank can't fuck you from the squishies. The squishies aren't able to kite too hard and they're grouped up. You know, all those things combined, especially like your supports were with you in that one where the two were in the corner and the tracer was there. That's everything that you want in an engagement, right?
Yeah.
And it's fast after they just got a pick opportunity, so it's a trade. Like, that's too many good things in a row to not go for a punish opportunity and to try it, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, at least I should at least try it more often. That way it's not like...
Yeah, there's got to be like a point of no return where you're like, it will only get worse after this, so it's time to commit. And you don't have to commit for the next 2 minutes straight holding W, but you commit for the next 5 to 10 seconds to try and get a kill. Right?
Yeah.
And once it's gone, it's gone. But you get it while it's there, you know? It's more active gameplay instead of full activity, which it is scary in a 4.4, because you don't want to be so active where you're feeding, like this charge.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is very greedy to do in a 4-4 lobby. In front of a Mei, a Sim, and another Reinhardt. What happens if he countercharges there?
Yeah, definitely death, right? Or at least
walled
pretty
off,
smoked.
full laser beam from Sim left click. She's full lasered when you get up. And they have BAP damage on top of it. You're going to die. You're going to die or you're going to die right after it. And the main thing here is just staying away from Sim and not letting her get beat. I would also just play out of her left click range, because the only damage you're going to take outside of that is some fire strikes, which you can avoid, some Sim right clicks, which is not that much damage over time when you have 1400 HP and she's right clicking 120 damage every like second and a half, right? The Mei right click isn't that dangerous outside of, you know, headshots, and then just some BAP left clicks.
So I have a question then. So because we have the Soldrin and because like, do you think I should be playing behind statue and allow them to come into us?
I was gonna say, is I was gonna wonder if that was your question, to let them play in open more, and I do think that's a better idea, because what you're doing is you're playing close. You're letting them have a close range engage where they can have a 3-2-1 burst out onto you while Sim left click you in close range, while she's getting no value out of that, right? If you bring them out into the open first, they have to deal with her getting a better position before they can even engage on you. and then getting time to get that damage in Ian, cut off supports from that, right? Like if they engage in with a soldier nade, if they can't just walk through, or they're gonna take a lot of damage and get fucked, right? And they're also slowed, right? Gives your Mei some extra time to get some right clicks in from an off angle too, because she is pretty dangerous against squishies that aren't covered, right? And yeah, your whole team just gets to play back and then just play like a game of triangles, right? And Ewing them.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, it's very good. I think that's a better opportunity for it, because otherwise your token just gets no value out of it around the corner. You know?
Yeah. Yep. And it's just gonna engage free basically. Make it too easy.
Doing the silver charge. I think it's fine when the wall comes in to do that, because then you're safe. I don't think it's fine to do before that comes in. I'm not against pinning for picks and pinning for high damage. It's fine. You're just doing it straight in the face when all 5 cooldowns on their team are ready to fuck you. Right? It's so gotta be more like switching up the timing, you know, like when they're fucked up, when they're stuck onto a wall, when they're turned, you know, when they use like their shift or some shit, you know, something like that, or when they're like ready to try and aggress and push forward, and then you do it, right? Because it fucks up their momentum, right? And they weren't expecting it. You can't just be straight facing them. So the better Reinhardt will just shift you back. You know? Yeah. So either shift you back, or they sidestep you. Everyone sidesteps you. They wall off your teammates, and then they just pin you in, and they kill you.
Got it. So would you say the pin is kind of like a greedy play then?
It's definitely a greedy play, but it is a high impact play, right? It's a lot of damage, and it's a potential pick if it's squishy. So it's not a play you don't want to do. Never. It's sort of variance. You know, I don't know if you know anything about poker. It's like there's a bunch of odds, right? And some are good plays because it's high odds. Some are bad plays because it's really bad odds. But there are some in the middle, right? Like, how do you treat a 50% play of working out? You don't want to do it every time. You don't want to do it none of the time. So what you do is you literally put, like, pro poker players, they'll be like, every, like, second time I'll do it 33% of the time. I'll do this 66% of the time. They add variance into their own gameplay because they know sometimes it'll hit and sometimes it won't, and they adjust it based off of that probability. That's what you do with charge. You don't just want to throw it out there every time, but you do want to throw it out there every once in a while, and you do want to throw it out there in fights where there's a chance of it getting like good value and a good pick off, right? Like we can't ignore the fact that it can get really high value, but you don't just want to spam it, and you don't want to do it like a silver, where it's like I can swing this person twice and fire strike them safely, or I can just hit shift and I just jump at them and hit shift in front of 5. You know, that's not a great idea.
Makes sense. Okay.
That's an unfortunate window. An unfortunate charge. I don't like that because all it is cutting yourself off from the entire team after that wall, right? And I don't like the immediate like fall. Once they get this and they get past the window, go here. Try and put some pressure. Don't go for a charge immediately because all of your teammates were set up here. It takes some time for them to rotate. Like, we'll see what that looks like by the time that you charge. It's a problem with playing too fast as a tank sometimes. See where they all are?
Yeah.
Back here, back here. So you're going to be deep into 5 of their team, and it's going to be like 1, 2, now I'm here.
Yeah.
Right? And then 1, 2 is 1, 2, smack, hit, wall. Just like everything's fucked. You know?
Yeah.
And they can't go that deep either if you're going that deep with it. Right? Again, I know you want to pick onto one of their squishies, right? But who are you going to charge most likely? Out of everyone?
Probably.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's going to fuck you up from that charge most likely? The Ryan. You know? Which is a lot of high damage, which you want to do when your team can follow up, and you're not going to get retaliated for it most of the time, you know? Or at least it's like a 50-50 like we said. But that there was way too... That's just too fast of trying to solve a bad play, right? You're trying to make up for a fuck up because this was your engage. You were engaged. It got fucked up. They rotated out. It's no longer a good engage, but you want to keep that engage going. That's a bit too much, you know?
Yeah.
And we also thought about with Sojourn, you want to play more open. This is a great opportunity to play open because now they're playing white and you have all of this. And actually you have like this entire bit of space too. If we want to draw a more accurate line, you have all this area and they have to flood through here to get to you. right?
Okay. Yeah. Yep. So definitely just like casually walk the point and
Yeah,
just
because
play
once
this
you
little
see like
slower.
if you're here and they're not in melee range, you're not getting value out of that fight. You would have to
Hmm.
run through a choke point against the Mei, against the Sim, against turrets, against everyone shooting damage on you. It's not good to be the person who's walking through that compared to them walking through that. If they were walking through it, I'd say fuck them as hard as you can, right?
Mm.
But since you're the one walking through that, that's bad, right? And the second you can't smack them anymore, like you can't smack a squishy out here and possibly get a pick off or a lot of pressure off, because if you get a smack on squishies in here, it's good, but they're over here on the edge by the time you started here. That's already outside of swing range and not like a step in, because they're going to be already by here by the time you started up. If you see them, they're out, right? So they're out. You give them that, and you take your next most advantageous spot. You know, you just basically reset the fight real quick.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
Oh, come on, King. Your ego, I need it back. No way. You didn't immediately hit Q in this situation.
I wanted to, but I'm playing too, like scared.
Look at that though. That is going to be 4 down. Guaranteed kill on Sim no matter what. Possible kill on Baptiste. You know, and you have 3 up, right? You have 3 up.
Yeah.
Where's she back? She will be back. That's possible. And worst case scenario, you get 2 picks and you stall the fucking point a lot longer, and it just shatter. You're not guaranteed to get a lot of value in shatter against another Reinhardt and wall and all this nonsense. Right?
Yeah. No, using it here would have been far better than what you're about to see with it.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I definitely feel like there is a bit of that fear and anxiety of like not playing well enough or making the dumb move, right? And what happens when you do that is you get in your own head where you need more time for something to look good to do it, so that there's a higher chance of it working out. But what that does is that eliminates so many of these like 50-60% chances that you could definitely be going for and getting a lot of value out of that you're missing. And because you're especially nervous, you're actually missing out on like 60% instead of just 50s in there too. You know, because you only want to do the best, most guaranteed plays.
That's definitely how it felt.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because you're getting heavily pressured into there, right? I definitely understand why you did it. I feel like when this blizzard goes through and this beat goes through, you have to pin in or out. You have no choice. You'll die either way. Yeah. Just as a general thing with blizzard in there, like you just need to go. You know, you're not going to survive if you don't. Even if you were 100 HP, 100, 200 HP. In this situation, you would have lived with it. In the other situation, you would die in blizzard or out to the shed. The higher chance of living off Good luck. Little greedy. With him being that low, you no longer need to charge, I feel. With him being that low, it's a swing, fire strike, swing like situation. And it leaves you more open viability to move around and not take this much damage. You know? I think that's greedy. If he was like 3/4 HP, I agree. Go for it. But it's hard, you know, and you don't want to do it here too, where you were doing it into this corner, right? You want to charge where he's still in front of you and can get him into like this plant, because when you're going in this corner, you cut off everyone from healing you. Where if you're through here, you're getting everybody to assist you through it. Yeah, it's near Omega, whatever, right? You either hit him into the plant, that would be better. Hit him off to the side here, that'd be better. You can still get people over here. Or you turn it and you try and hit it further into here. You know, or in the desk even. The desk would probably be the best, because then you could walk into Mega right after the pin and you're swinging on him. Right? You swing in it and just run to the Mega to get all that health back that you just got. And he just got immensely pressured and stuck from your team. You know?
Yeah.
You're talking full optimization, but you don't want to cut yourself off into that. It's one of those things again where it's like, even though you have an advantage, even though the fight is good and it looks good, you can't rush it. Like, you can't just act invincible, otherwise 4v5s happen.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's a bad habit. I see tanks do this, and we just talked about it. What's your bad habit here? I'll give you a clear view.
Are you talking about like not posting up on a corner and then counting it down to walk through, or are you talking about like
No,
not walking through
just
entrance out?
generally look at this. What's wrong?
I didn't push through.
No, when you retreated, you walk to the left and you cut yourself off onto the wall, increasing your time to get across and anti-LOSing yourself from teammates more, so they have to get a more exaggerated angle to heal you. Where if you were just backed up straight into the doorway, then what would happen is if she did wall correctly, you get out when they break the pillar, right? If they walled and you were on this corner, you have to walk all the way towards the center or towards that pillar anyways, which is just more time in death, right? And limits your movement options more. And if you're in center, when the heals come through, your BAP can play back here and be chilling and not have to be playing over here and getting you in the corner. Or if it's an Ana, not at all. If it's a Moira, not at all. You know, it's just a bad habit. You don't want to anti-LOS teammates ever. Put cover between you and the forward entity or you and the flank that is currently happening or about to happen. Do not put yourself between your center base of your team. Ever.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So that's a bad habit that you should drill out and really try to pay attention to when you're moving across the map. Because a lot of people do it. It's very natural for most people. Good pin, I guess. I don't think it's good overall because you don't have shield and you can't, escape off of that. That's too low of HP. You just need to be focused on getting healed up.
Just corner thing.
What did Bap? Yeah, Bap died before you, so you're dead anyways. Then I guess that's fine. Pin's not the worst then. You get more own charge. I just don't know if that was intentional.
Yeah. No, I mean, this was kind of weird because like the idea was the first time they even come over here was just a bait.
Yeah, I like that. That's fine. You have to counterpin that. He's isolating himself.
Yeah.
For that long. You have to get that.
Yeah. Yeah. No. This was like just really late for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know if you didn't hear it, but it's pretty loud. I don't know. I think that was just like more just focusing on every other variable, where it's like you hear that charge noise, that has to become priority in your mind immediately.
Yeah.
You had enough time to react to it, and it was really far. Because if you counterpin him the second he touches you, look where he is.
Yeah, just behind Maywall, kind of screwed. Yep.
Behind Maywall, in front of 5 people, isolated from team. Right? Not isolated angle-wise, but space-wise, there's a decent gap, right, compared to yours. So you guys will have way better follow-up into there. So yeah, that would have been a free kill. It's unfortunate to watch now. I feel shameful about.
Oh no, I felt it at the moment. I felt yeah.
You also go for a lot of stuff while you're low HP, which you can't do on Reinhardt, right? It's just too much fucking damage to go for. Right, you need to shield up. You can get some extra time to get healed on. And you have a window here. You would get window healed through it, but you have what? How much shield do you have? It doesn't even show. That's cool.
Probably full because I don't think I use it at all.
1090. Yeah, this is too much greed to try and get that fire truck on the Ryan, which he isn't in that area yet of it. And what's good to think about: can you punish Orion? Can you not punish Orion? If nobody on your team can get through the Rhine shield or completely behind it while someone's pressuring from the front, you can't kill the Rhine. In most situations, in almost all situations, unless you have like really good pierce through damage and they don't have heals, right? That's generally how I think about it. Like I can't kill this Rhine unless he literally drops his shield for any fucking reason during this chase. Unless I can get some DPS through the shield behind him to damage him, like a Mei in there, and start like left clicking, right clicking him. If I can get Sojourn behind him or doing pressure in the front, if I can't get that, I'm not killing him. Right? That's just the nature of Ryan. He'll just shield hop his way back, chill, keep it up while getting healed, and then like, yeah, you got some shield health down, but you're not killing him. Right?
Yeah.
And that's the same thing for you. Right? If you just jump and shield hop back here, second that pillar breaks, you're full healed. You'll be fine. You can kite that out. She can't get behind you in a way where you can't shield her, and you just jump back and shield. You'll be fine. You'll definitely live, even if she does get through and left click you. By the time that wall breaks, it's about to break in like half a second anyways, and then your BAP and everything heals you. And my rule with teams and walls is just do middle pillar, always back up into the middle. trying to like get it to work on edges and corners or like the fourths, it never works. Like because if they just pick the wrong one and they get miscommunications, it's fucked. Where you can always figure out where the center of wall is, and they can always shoot the center of the wall no matter what happens.
Yeah. Yep, that makes sense.
So definitely default to that. I am on the wrong person. And this is it,
right? We do get touched, but I block Shatter again, but that's not.
Cool guy here.
Yeah.
That's good. Good punish. Probably winnable. That's good. Very good. I like that. I don't like how much you care about teleporting. When it comes to mid-fight, almost 90% of the time, they're not going to use it. And if there's no one on top of it immediately, they're not going to use it. You should definitely be rushing after the Baptiste here, or the Mei here, or somebody to get the damage.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm just hard focusing TP. It's very interesting watching it.
Yeah. Especially as Ryan.
Yeah.
Like you're just wasting 85 damage swings and all space and pressure to like just make sure that they can't TP maybe. Which if they do TP, it's good. Then you just charge at the TP exit, like as you see them running to the entrance. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Or you just smack them off the entrance if they're not already on it. But yeah. So definitely missing a lot of punish opportunities on Winston we saw, and on Ramatra. Going for squishy follow-ups and kills when you have the opportunity to. You're not aggressing when you have resources like your health. And on Ryan, it's a lot of greed. It's greed fire strikes where you're low HP. It's greed charges when you're in front of everybody. So it needs to be a little bit more focused on once your HP gets around like halfway, you're doing jump backs and shields, because that's basically such an easy reset you can get most of the time on Ryan unless you're hard flanked and hard pressured. So you can get that almost every time and get a reset on it. And it's worth you getting up to 500 HP and having low shield and having a reset than it is to get whatever value you're about to get in the next like 200 health where you're going to get bursted. In most situations, it should be the default play. There are exceptions, but it should be the default. All right. And then a bad habit of cutting yourself off of teammates' sightlines, which you always want to make sure that you're in an open sightline to your core 24/7 while playing this game. Like there's like 95% that you should. The only other 5% is if somebody is coming from that side and you need to literally block instantaneous burst damage to where you're about to die, like a Tracer all in or something, right? And you put your back to it for a second. Other than that, you always keep that open. Okay? Better for follow-up, and it's better for your support heals, and it's better protection for them. Okay?
Yep.
So, keep that open. And then you do need to play more aggressive in general when it comes to, like, you need to be less picky on what's a good and bad engagement, I think, is the problem. I think it's just passivity once you're in, to be honest. You're passive when you have high HP and you're in a decent situation. Whereas like if you have high HP and it's a decent situation, you go for it. You don't need 100% fight win percentage to go for a fight. If you get a 60, a 70, you go for it and you try and work it out. And it also makes you a better player if it's like not just perfect easy tap, like on a script. You get in more explosive situations and you have to work your way out where it's like, oh, I made one mistake, where if I didn't make that one mistake, this fight would have been a win versus a loss, and you get to like improve a lot faster on it too. Yeah, I definitely think that you should go for more punish opportunities on squishies. That's the main way to get value as supercharged over mega death adrenaline fucking tank that is Overwatch 2 tanks.
Yeah.
Yep. Most value per second you can ever get is pressuring our support, and trying to kill them off. So remember that. And then analyzing a DPS that's getting a lot of high pressure onto you, or a good open sight onto your teammates. That should also be like priority. Like those three. It's the main healer, whoever's going to heal the most. The DPS is going to do the most pressure and damage, especially to fuck up your win condition, right? Or just has a high pick potential. Those are like second in priority. And then Third is, the other support. And then fourth is probably other DPS. And then tank is last just because it's so improbable to get them. But if you get an opportunity to, you floor it. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's like the dynamic. If I had to map it out in a flowchart, like you had Overwatch 1 flowchart, that's the flowchart I would say is the priority.
Okay. So I have another question that kind of goes along with this. So, would you say that I should just focus on like 2 to 3 to 4 tanks, or do you think I should just like when I go to comp, do you think I should just attempt to read my team and pick? Because like obviously the death of one tank means there's twice as many tanks I should be able to play.
I'd say it's in my opinion, it's good to be flexible, and two, it's more important to be able to play multiple tanks now than it ever has been. Because there will be some tank matchups, especially in comp, where you'll just be shut down. You can't really move much. It feels like you're just restricted, and that their tank's just going to like dominate on you and get way more damage and pressure out. Where it's like, it'll be good to be able to play Zarya a little bit for that. It would be good to play Orisa to push through stuff. It would be good to play Ramattra to play like regular brawl stuff. It would be good to play Winston because he's really oppressive if you have like a good engage. It'd be good to play Diva when you don't have a full-on aggressive engage that's like perfect, but you can get a lot of pressure on multiple people at once and a lot of burst combos, right? And a decent level of uptime. Diva has a very good uptime and burst potential compared to Winston, where Winston engages, if they're done good, there's almost nothing the enemy team can do about it. It just like fucks them, right? Like their squishes are just going to get to 1 HP, and if there's follow-up, it's death, right? And then they have a bubble to get through where they might not punish the Winston every time, right? And then Reinhardt is like an iffy because in most situations you could just play Rom and it would be better, right? He's kind of a little bit overpowered. And yeah, so I feel like those are like the main. Winston, Diva, Ramattra, Zarya if you want to win in comp, because there'll be some times where you just kind of need her, right? And it's a good like carry potential. JQ has had her time, and I think she's still viable and good, but I feel like there's a lot more things that feel less oppressed than her in certain matchups. You definitely want like a Rom will never feel oppressed in almost any matchup. It would just be like, oh, the map's not great for it. That would be the only thing. Winston's always good for any sort of dive. Diva's pretty good in certain maps, especially a lot of high grounds. And yeah, Orisa's decent to break through. Like you need to just in something. Orisa's like probably the best in the game at it because she just shifts. She will not die. She eats everything. She pushes people into places they don't want to be. Stuns somebody, just left clicks their fucking head while 2 inches from them. Very aggressive, very oppressive playstyle, and it helps you push through really bad choke points or really bad tank matchups a lot of times. So, yeah, if I had to recommend the 4 or whatever, Ramattra, Winston, Diva. I feel like I'm missing something. Don't do Doom.
No, Doom. I have under an hour on Doom, so this he's just the whole can of worms.
Going Sig for Circuit Royale is a guaranteed will always be necessary. There is no tank that will be better than them on that map.
Okay.
It's just unfortunate because it's double sniper every time. It's double sniper and mid-range damage dealers are like that's just their haven. It's just giant lane maps with no cover, where he has the most uptime when it comes to crossing cover to cover and spamathons. So he's very, very good for that. And you can't really rush him because you're playing across an entire lane, and just kite through the whole lane. So yeah, Winston, Diva, Ramattra, Sigma. Like guaranteed. If you want some extra comp wins, Zarya or Junker Queen. Zarya can be a little bit less oppressed than JQ though in certain matchups.
Okay.
But JQ can also carry harder in certain matchups.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I really don't care about the wins. I just kind of want to be as the best player I can be. So
yeah. So I'd say focus on those main 4. Sig only on Circuit Royale, but just be able to play it. Otherwise, you're getting losses that map.
Yeah. Okay.
Diva, Winston, Rom, very, very good. Orisa's not bad to pick up. Zarya's not bad to pick up. And that's it, in my opinion.
All right. That works for me then.
Yep.
I've got quite a bit to work on. I think that the number one thing that's kind of ringing in my head is just I'm gonna go full blown aggressive and try to dial it back as much as I can, and we'll see where that.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It's not full on aggression anymore. It's you're playing the way that you're playing, but when there's a punishment, you need to punish it. When someone is low, you need to punish it. You need to commit and clean it up. When you have a good position, you in it. It doesn't need to be a perfect position, but it's a position where you can get a jump that does a lot of damage on low HP targets and fucks them. You know? Like there's a high chance of something dying here on their team. You go for it. That's what it is. Because aggression just, like, I don't want you to sprint into 5 people set up and just spamming you for free all the time. Sometimes I do with good cooldown usage, right? But, like, you don't want to just be, like, balls to the wall 24/7, especially, like, what we saw where you get a pick and then you sprint in, right? You still want to be smart. You still want to play, like, to your win condition. But then when there's a punishment, you punish it. You aggress. You kill it. You don't let kills go away. Basically.
Yeah, I mean, especially like how many times, 3 or 4 times, where like at least some monkey, I was above 400 HP, someone was 1 HP and above me, or right.
There was
and I had jump
4 where you were like good HP, had cooldowns, could have killed them.
Yeah, and I just didn't.
Yeah.
So
that's something that needs to be tweaked. You know, especially in high level, you're not going to get that opportunity too much, and it will get healed off most of the time. You know, supports will pay attention up at that level. So yeah, you need extra burst, especially burst. Burst when they're low is what you want to all in on. You know, jump melee land combos, smack fire strike smacks, all that sort of stuff. You know, Ramatra shifting into them, slowing them, left click melee. Also, this is what I mean, like with Ramatra real quick. Look at this, 200 HP.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Know
and Ramatra definitely does a lot.
That and do it. Because that is really fucking deadly, especially where you're just bang, and a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
I think a Tracer might be 2 in a minute. Metaphorically. It might still be just 3, and I think 3 will kill her outright. But let me test real quick.
I will tear victory from your grasp.
That's good enough. Big diva too.
Sad Tracer days. I feel like she's just getting harder and harder to play as time goes on.
She is, but she's still very, very good in some sort of environment. So, like, I play her a lot. She's still like one of the #1 meta picks in team, like picks for a majority of maps. So she's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just you got to be really good at it.
She just has a really high skill expression, maybe.
Really, it's the skill floor is dropping because you get fucked a lot, but the skill ceiling is still just as high as it was. And it's higher than Overwatch.
Yeah. Well, I definitely appreciate the VOD, man.
For sure, man. It was fun. Easy peasy. It was a good one.
Hey, thank you. So, obviously, you probably don't say this on stream, but like, send me the information at the PayPal you or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
And could I? Is there a way I could just pay for like 3 of them right now, like 3 like VODs?
If you want to, I'll take it.
Is that okay with you? Okay.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I would say let's space them at least a week to give you time to work.
Yes, please. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. At least a week, like a full one. Not like, oh, it's been a half week. I played a couple games and it's good. No. Need some time to see it.
Yeah.
And definitely just focus on it and grind it out. You know.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'll probably play 2 to 3 days of just like of comp, and then I'll rewatch this to see. I'll rewatch this and then watch one of my VODs to see like if I'm still playing too passive in those moments.
Way to do it. And if you scrim at all too, that's a good another time to think about it, because then you also have like more macro stuff to think about too. Where comp, a lot of it is, you know, just play well, play positionally, and get as much value per second as you can squeeze out. You know.
So, last question then. So, do you think, so like in team play as Monkey, are you someone that like religiously believes that dives should be well, like more patient, well set up, and then dives, or do you think they should just be done? Like if you see
scrim environment, you're saying?
Yes, in scrim.
In scrim environment, what I always religiously teach is you get both DPS in a position to follow up where you will dive, like they can get to it within a blink or within a second or a second and a half, whatever the minimum time they can do while being safe, right? You don't want them like actively like being able to be pushed out when they're doing that. But the second they get into that spot, you go for it. That's your trigger. That's what I feel is going to be the best and most effective method. Because when they're in that position, they can't stay there forever, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty close. It's pretty pressurable, even if they are playing safe during it. And so the second they get there, you should dive no matter what, because you know exactly how you're going to dive, and all they need to know is you're diving. They're a second away, right? They're one blink away. They're one Genji dash away. It's done, right? So they hear the jump. They peek around the corner. What happens is the tank goes in first. All eyes on tank. DPS get people who are looking to the side, who are also getting melee landed on. So they either burst them on the initial engage or they burst them on the follow-up and the secure. And that's, I think, the best method to do it. And it requires DPS to be vocal. They need to tell the team, I'm ready, I'm in position, or that there's a person here. That should be like, massive comms.
So do you think Sombra is really good for that?
Absolutely.
Because like then you only need Tracer to be in position. Is that the idea, or is that like?
Yeah, that's why Sombra Tracer's running a lot of dive maps. The only time that it gets awkward is when there's high grounds and positions where Sombra can't really get across pretty easily, right? Or that Tracer can't get up and follow up pretty easily. A lot of times you can play like under, like in Gibraltar, Tracer can play under for people to drop, like in like server room and shit like that. Or New Bonnie, they can play like in the mini on their side and just wait for you guys to engage so that they get people who drop off bridge, right? Because in the hallway, if they play deep in there, sometimes people play deep in there as supports or other DPS, and they try to just force the Tracer the entire time. So it depends on difficulty. But like in most maps, it's literally just Sombra pings somebody, you hack, you get the dive at that exact time, right?
Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang. And
I guess
we did some math on that at one point in time. I forgot exactly what it is. I can look it up real quick. Let me see. I have it in this one channel. That's not the channel. This channel.
I mean, I know in Overwatch, like even Briggs will sometimes they'll sometimes die, which is saying something, right?
No, yeah, Brig is actually my preferred dive target when it comes to her and most other people. Because if you dive to the person who's not Brig, you're fighting through Inspire at its full effect and an armor pack through any shield. Versus like if you're playing with an Ana and a Brig, if you bubble off the Ana, she's not affecting the Brig at all, and you're dealing with a neutered Inspire, and that's it. Right?
Yeah.
She has a shield, which sucks for some people. But if you're triple man diving, you should be able to get somebody to have their max damage effectiveness on her from playing down the side of her, right? And you can just body block the shield bash, right? You play between her and Ana and where she wants to go, and then it's just death. She dies faster than the Ana ever will. And the Ana also, if it's an Ana Brig, she's heal boosting herself if you go for her. So you're dealing with a heal boosted Inspire, heal boosted armor pack, and the instant burst from her E on herself.
Yeah, I mean every Ana shot at that point will do more than the HP, like half of the HP bar of a Brig.
It's a fucking nightmare. It's just one of the worst things to ever deal. So I always think that's a better idea to dive a Brig in that situation of the two.
Well, also the fact that if we hack the Brig, like the Brig won't deny or land a whip shot on the monkey, right? Or like they won't deny the initial dive.
That depends. She can do it if it's a dive on her or a dive on Ana, you know? It depends on where it is. So for that, it has to come into the angle you are initially diving from and the speed that dive takes to get on top of them. You know, because if you do one that's like a long stretched one that it has to go up in front of their face, it's gonna be bad. If you do a more diagonal one where they have to turn, it's a little bit better. And if you have to do a shorter one where you land before the whip even comes in, it's the best. Right?
Yeah. Harder to hit. Got it.
A little difficult, but it is. I don't know the numbers. I think the number, if I remember correctly, with a melee land combo, and a hack with Tracer and Sombra all at the same time, I believe in that 1.5 second span, if you all are on a target, before the hack even ends, you have 460 damage you could do, or that might have been 50% of it. It might have been around like 800 something. It's something crazy. I can't
800 damage you can burn a tank. It's kind of funny to think about.
no, it's a
In
little,
theory, anyway.
a little crazy. Let me just look up Tracer. I think Tracer's 240 damage per second. 220. So 220. What? 220 plus. What? And do you want the future sessions to also be an hour and a half? Or just an hour?
Oh, I mean, I don't mind. Whatever works for you, I think. Yeah.
Alright, so on a hack target, it's 187.5. 7.5. Then we do the Winston combo, which is, I know it's 50 plus 80. 50 plus 80, and let's say you do a full charge right click, which is another 50. Alright. How much is that? That's 180? Yeah, 180. 180. So this is 1 second is 587 damage. And then you times that by 1.5 and you get 881 damage. And now if you divide that, or not divide that, you times that by 0.5. I like doing it that way. This is if everybody has 50% accuracy, which can be doable, right?
Yeah.
440. That's where the 440 cal came from the 880. So 440 damage in 1.5 seconds, assuming everybody has 50% accuracy. That's more than enough to kill a squishy.
I mean, that's without ultimates too, right? Like, obviously, Sombra EMP would just take someone's HP down to half, right?
This is literally Winston jumps, right clicks them, melee lands them, then Tracer and Sombra left click them.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely, theoretically, very strong.
Actually, it might be a little lower because Tracer's wouldn't affect that. Let me do this. I just thought about that because she can only shoot for the first second, where the rest can't. Hold on. 187.5 plus 180. That's the Winston and Sombra. Times that by 1.5. And then you add 220. And then you multiply that by 1.5. Not 1.5, but by 0.5. Sheet. Alright, let me just grab this. Times 0.5. Ta-da. So, I fucked that up somehow. Hold on. What is going on with these numbers? 0.5. Oh, it's trying to do PEMDAS up here. Don't do PEMDAS. Finish it. Just finish the number. There we go. That should be it. Okay, good. 385. Ta-da!
Yeah, so you're saying this Brig might be killable, maybe.
Yeah, Brig's a little killable.
Yeah.
And that's the first 1.5 seconds. That doesn't, like, mean anything after that. You know? Like, you still will be shooting her after that. Right?
I mean, Monkey's in there for at least, like, 4 seconds, right? 4 or 5 seconds, so...
Yeah. And if you bubble split them up from Manana, that's just like death. Say if they had a Mercy on them, is it Mercy? Mercy, 55 heal per second. So 55, 1.5, sound like 27.5 on the 55. Like
I will say diving sim is Monkey. It doesn't feel that great nowadays. I don't like. I tried to I tried to solo diver and I think my mistake was putting bubble down because I literally just could not kill her in 5 seconds.
Damn. Yeah. We just put like if you don't melee land combo, it's so ridiculous. Here, you want to see the calculation without melee land combo?
Like how many seconds it would take?
Of just like the damage per second change.
Yeah, let's see it.
Oh yeah, I'm only doing the fucking melee land combo. I'm not even doing if Winston Tesla's afterward. So that's a big difference. Well, actually no, I don't need to do that calc. Minus all of that by 180. You're just getting rid of that. Yeah, because it's 50-50. Oh no, 130. 130. I'm doing all my calcs so wrong today. 130. That's what it is. I'm stupid. Hell yeah. So 130 is his burst, so that's 50 less. Whoa, crazy. But you add the Winston left click onto that, which is 60 damage per second. And then that's 90 damage over that 1.5 seconds. The calcs are even higher. So. But a 0.5 recovery time, it's still 60, so it's 10 damage more. Numbers are fun. I like numbers.
My little brain can't comprehend.
Anyways, big damage, a lot of it. You can do way more than a fucking... You can burst through trans.
I wish that would work easier in practice.
Yeah, no. Get a Zen. Put that extra 30% on there. You can do it.
Yeah. Discorded. Yeah, I see it. Well, thanks again, Van, for the VOD review. Appreciate it. Hit me with the stuff so I can send payment.
Hell yeah. All right. I'll see you later, King. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks again.
No problem. Peace out. And thank you, stream, for watching. Hope it was helpful. Have a good fucking day. Eat your goddamn veggies. Go to the gym tomorrow. I love you all. Sleep tight. Do some mobility exercises. You old fuck. Your bones need it.